Say hello to the most powerful Mitsubishi Cedia in the country. Otherwise known to be lazy, slow. 7,000. And this here is a 400 plus horsepower. This is the most powerful front wheel drive Cedia put together by anyone in India. Well, for those who know about race concepts, everybody knows that we build mad Hondas. Over the past 12 and a half years, we've built Hondas in all shapes, sizes, forms, power levels. It's made us who we are in the industry, and the name that we have today is Hondas that we've built. Does anyone know that the first car that we built, turbocharged car, back in 2012 was a Mitsubishi? Back in 2012, a friend wanted to build a Mitsubishi Evo 4. He had a car which was stock car and wanted us to make it quite powerful so that he can take part in drags and have a lot of fun on the street. So that was our first build, and what better than a legendary 4G63 motor with all-wheel drive. Pure dream come true moment. Our turbo builds with the Honda City VTEC started from late 2012, and then we completed them 2013 onwards, and then we went on to set numerous records and then set quarter mile times. Whole different story. But always it was sad to see that the Mitsubishis that were sold in India were not really quite up to the mark. From the late 90s, we've had the Mitsubishi Lancer, which was a fantastic car, had the looks. It looks exactly like the Evo 4, 5, 6. Mid 2000s onwards, we got the Mitsubishi Cedia. It's again a great car. This is an identical chassis code to the Evo 7, 8 and 9, which has a lot of promising character and a lot of image. But sadly, what it really lacks is what's here. The motor. Lancer came with a 1.5 litre petrol. Later on they had a 1.8 litre Invex which put out decent power, but again was only automatic. Cedia came with a 115 bhp 2 litre single cam motor. Although the power figures seemed quite decent, car just added too much weight, didn't have enough power to pull through its own weight, which quite clearly made the Cedia quite sluggish. I've been seeing the Mitsubishi Cedias being rallied. The car has been extensively used, a lot of formats, not much in racing because the car clearly didn't have any power weight advantage. So when you say Mitsubishi Cedia, it's a varied perception. Now on one side you have a car which is extremely good looking. It has the lineage of a Evo. It looks like an Evo 7, 8 and 9. Very well sculpted body. In fact, it has the same identical chassis except for the underpinnings where the rear has the all-wheel drive floor and a few changes. Largely the chassis remains the same to about 70%. And also the Lancer, which was prior to the Cedia. These cars are exciting to look at. The whole disappointment starts when you start driving it and then when you see how bad the engine performs. Which is why the Cedia lived for a very short span. I think about 6-7 years into production, it was completely wiped out because it just didn't sell enough, gave very poor fuel efficiency, expensive to maintain because Mitsubishi couldn't really get their parts supply and service sorted in India because they tied up with Hindustan Motors. That became a complete mess. We know how Hindustan Motors operates. It is quite a sad way to see a great car end up like this. It's not for any lack of effort by Mitsubishi, but I think it's some sort of a strategy that went wrong in positioning a certain car like this. They could have for sure given a slightly better motor and made the car a lot more efficient and could have definitely hit a lot more sales numbers and got a lot more people to buy, and probably Mitsubishi would still be in business in India. All that aside, here's what the car can do. AC off, gear down, goes into second gear, my glass is on, and here we go. That's 165 kph. Now, this is the low boost setting, about 14 to 15 psi. The car in its full glory, where it really unleashes all of its 400 plus horsepower, is around the 20 psi mark. Well, in a little bit we can actually open that as well, just to show you how mad that is. The traction, performance, the way it leaves off the line, the way it can pull through the gears, it's completely unreal. Something that you never see in a Cedia, because the character of the Cedia being a long stroke motor is to give it a lot of mid-range. The top it dies. The meat of the power band in a Cedia is 2500 to 5000 RPM mark. and before that and after that it's quite a dud machine. So we've taken all the learning from what we've developed through our rally car to put into turbo perspective and get this engine to really put numbers out. And today, to see an engine, a long stroke motor which has got nearly 100 millimeter of stroke length, to be doing 7000 rpm is quite a bit. If you see the mean piston speed of this engine, is going to be quite alarming, but then it's fine. The way we put it together is just absolutely fine. It recently, a month ago, also took part at the Rome drag meet and did a mid 14-second pass with massive compromise, massive wheel spin, and the owner just attempting to drive the car the first time. So a lot of smoke, a lot of banging the limiter stuff, and still a mid 14 to an early 14 is quite astonishing, and that I think is very quick considering what a Mitsubishi Evo itself does in stock form. Stock Evo 7 would do a late 14-second run. Now this car, what we ran last month, was 50 horsepower less. Overall it was around 350 to 360 horsepower. Right now it's a completely different animal, because after we completed the drag last week, we decided to go a little bit more on the tune, and this is a much faster engine today. Second gear, 2,500 rpm. Here we go. Okay, just for interest's sake, I'm not going to do it really much, but then we'll just launch it off the line and see how quick it is, and let the viewers take a guess of the 0 to 100. Here we go. That was left a lot of smoke. I think this is around 5-ish seconds to 100. We had no choice but to hit the limiter quite a bit, twice, but I'm sure it gives everybody an indication of what this is all about. With 215 profile tires and 400 horsepower on street Yokohamas, I don't think there's much you can expect. It's just the effortless mannerism of the car that really surprises you. Like the way it can just blow through the speeds, unreal. It's got so much of torque, it's got so much of grunt. Now let's say we're in third gear, we're going at 2000 rpm. Yeah, that's 2000 rpm. We're doing 40 kph. On a stock car, you can't really expect much. It won't do anything. But here's where this does the talking. Putting the foot down, third gear, 2000, then wheel spin, lights up. And that's 160. 40 to 160. Everything else is too much fun, man. I'm having a ball. The way it's going, it's so silly. You know what's the best part about this? See, compared to the VTEC and all that, now the VTEC is still very dramatic after 120 also, because when the star starts to move and it does all kinds of things. But with the Cedia, because of the weight it has, it's about 1.35 ton or something like that, and we have not removed any weight on this car. In fact, only added. The turbo system has put on maybe about 20-25 kilos. Overall, there's absolutely no weight reduction. I've driven quite few fast cars, but the way this delivers power with the composure and with that whole level of maturity, the Honda Cities, they make the power come out very violently. There's torque steer, the car's pulling left, right. Yes, this also does a little bit of drama till about 120 kph. There's wheel spin into third, but after that you can feel the mature sense of dynamics in this car, which is the clear roots of what an Evo is. At 160, 180, you don't even feel like the car is doing those speeds. Any other car would give you the speed perspective of what you're really doing, and it kind of will get you a little more alert and careful to handle those speeds. But this car is so refined in the way it does. Even the wind noise and all of that is so muffled. There's barely anything. It's quite a great car. Now because this car is front wheel drive, the only loss that it has is in the way it accelerates to 100, because it obviously has a lot of wheel spin. If you were to compare the rolling acceleration of this car from 100 kph to about 200 kph, this would clearly be faster than even an Evo. This has absolutely no frictional loss. It does not have too much of a driveline load, so this can actually put the power down much more efficiently post 100 kph, and this would hands down win a rolling race with another equivalent 400 horsepower car, because this is clearly the way it's putting the power down. It's very, very efficient. Now let's take a look at the engine and let's see what the car really has. We've kept it fairly simple, didn't want to move around a whole lot of things. Batteries in the same place. It's got a usual bolt-on stud braces, got a fully adjustable dampers, and then as you can see the changes start here. Completely custom exhaust system for the turbo. The Garrett Turbo sits down there, it's a wastegate. Intake there, the custom water lines and the radiator lines. There's a custom intake manifold which is well tuned, and then that's pretty much it. On the outside it's just a normal Cedia. I think the first thing that comes into people's mind when they think of a heavily tuned, turbocharged, naturally aspirated car, is it going to be drivable? Is it going to be fuel efficient? Is it going to be sensible? The comparison is always with a factory turbocharged car, such as the Skoda VRS or something like that. But the reason why this is done is because now one is, yes, we have addressed a whole lot of things. When we build the engine, we ensure that we take precautions to ensure that the turbo engine behaves like an OEM factory engine by having the right amount of breathability inside the motor, giving the engine the right tune so that there are no components which are stressed inside. Of course, the strength of the connecting rod, the bearings, the pistons, and the whole bunch that we designed for the engine is put together to take the loads. Now after which, when we calibrate the engine and when we tune the whole induction system, the fabrication and the execution of this entire thing has a lot of science behind it, because you just cannot slap on a turbo and expect the engine to make power and be reliable. Everything that is required to perform and then to keep the engine reliable has to be addressed. This is not an dead equal comparison with a turbocharged factory engine like a 2-liter Skoda engine or something like that, but this is a completely different package altogether. Now this is an enthusiast material. This is a car that has a lot of feel to it, character to it, and the fact that this car has a lovely chassis and it has a very, very slick gearbox, and to now have a 400 plus horsepower manual transmission 2-liter turbo, such a thing doesn't exist in this world, right? I mean, you have a lot of double clutch gearboxes and you have a lot of fancy electronics, but then this is built for an enthusiast, by an enthusiast, to really give a character to the soul, to make the whole experience of driving a car enjoyable. This is not about quarter mile times or about 0 to 100 or to compare with another performance factory car to say, okay, this is also a 2-liter, this does this 0 to 100 and this does this, that. This is not a comparison at all. This is clearly a car that brings nostalgia when you drive. It gives you a certain sense of ownership. To me, modern Japanese classic is always very special. One of the reasons why we stick to the Japanese performance classics is because I believe they have a lot of coolness to it, and these cars all have a soul, and they really have a soul that makes you really enjoy when the power and the performance and the dynamics of the car is elevated. I think that soul goes to a completely new level, like this. What car can do this? Unreal. I'm just happy and blessed to be building these things and driving these things. That's all I can say. didn't hit the limiter, got to do a power shift, did the job. I think that was a very quick run. I'm very sure it was a good run. Manual launch, 4000. Yes, super quick. Smoke. Oh man, I love these things. That's it, guys. I think we had great fun driving the Cedia, and I think more than anything I felt a lot happier today. My day is made. Yes.